Second to last day, folks. Second to last day. Day 7 of our officially 8-day class, although it's been over a 10-day period. You're right at the edge. You could step off the cliff at any moment, in a good way, right? In a good way. Hey, CIE491, Developing Educational Entrepreneurship. I'm Alex Wiseman. I think you've been listening to me for a few days now. You are hopefully really immersed in educational entrepreneurship, what it means, where it comes from, how it's unique, how to measure it, how to implement it. You're planning it. You have your own idea that you're developing all of this around. This is good stuff, and you're doing good things. So let's just jump right on it and think about what the objectives for today's learning are. First of all, we're going to talk about the role of public and private partnerships in educational innovation. And I'll explain that more when we get down here. And then we're going to talk about ways to launch a new educational innovation. In other words, how do you start it up? Sometimes that's the biggest hurdle. So let's get right into it. Public-private partnerships. This is a super controversial topic. I'm giving you a one-sided document to read. This is a World Bank document, obviously, written by the World Bank, on the role and impact of public-private partnerships in education. The World Bank loves public-private partnerships in education because they reduce the risk for governments or for education systems and increase the responsibility of the private sector, often with, this is where the critique comes in, some disproportionate advantages for private sector folks, organizations, etc. that are involved in education. So what you're going to get is a very positive look at public-private partnerships from this document, and I think that's okay. What I want you to know is that there are a lot of critiques of it, very valid critiques of public-private partnerships in education. But when we're talking about innovations like we are, when we're talking about entrepreneurship, which we are, related to education, remember that risk is always a part of this. It doesn't mean we want to take unnecessary risks or take stupid risks, but we have to take some risks. And a way to mitigate some of those risks is to partner with private organizations or companies in order to achieve what you're trying to achieve. It can be a way to offset costs. It can be a way to get local buy-in. It can be a way to improve sustainability. It can do a lot of things if you merge or if you partner your public or your educational innovation with a private sector unit. But this will be a way to address that. Okay. I'm also want to note, because you can see right here on the screen, all three of the modules for today, none of which involves a video. So time is precious at this point, and so I'm just giving you some readings. I think the public-private partnership will be important because I'm going to highly encourage that all of you in your strategic plan think about how a public-private partnership could benefit the educational innovation entrepreneurial thing that you're developing and put that in your plan some way. I think it would be a great idea. For launching a new venture, I'm going to ask you to read 6 pages out of Wollstonecraft and 38 pages from our friends at the Harvard Business School on leading change, leadership, organization, and social movements. I will sum some of this up for you in one phrase. Every innovation needs a champion. Every innovation needs a champion. If it's an educational one, doesn't matter. Still needs a champion. That champion is going to be somebody who is a leader. Somebody who understands and is motivated to solve the problem that your innovation is addressing. That leader could be you. That champion could be someone who is part of the community that the innovation serves. There are lots of different ways it could go, but you want to identify where it is, and you want to think about how to find and then really use that champion's skills and knowledge and inertia and charisma, whatever it takes to create the change that your entrepreneurial thinking, that your educational innovation is supposed to achieve. And then I'd like for you to skim over, it's 21 pages, so I think skim is fine, this case study of a new school launch, the Bronx Lab School, to see the kinds of things that they're doing, to see the kinds of ideas that they have about how to create a new educational innovation and then launch it. All right, then I would like for you to move on to drafting a couple of things. You're really drafting the final parts of your application. The Phase 1 action plan. No more than 1,000 words. Present it in a detailed table or timeline format. See Wolk and Kreitz 2008 for examples. They have an example of this in that book. I would like for you to also draft an executive summary. This will actually go at the very beginning of your strategic plan, but you don't write it until the end, because it's only at the end, which you're at right now, when you understand everything that went into it, everything that you're summarizing. This section should be no more than 500 words and should give us a little bit of a blow-by-blow for each of those sections that we're seeing in the strategic plan itself. All right? 500 words. It's very similar to an abstract, but in this case you're structuring it by the sections in your strategic plan. And then finally, post comments. You know how to post comments. You've been doing that for a while. Remember, when you're posting your comments, reflect back on these objectives for today and how the readings, in this case there are no videos, but how the readings, and if there were videos, and the assignments helped you achieve an understanding in these areas. And then finally, remember, if you have questions or comments, let me know. Let your classmates know. One of us, all of us, will give you an answer.